So for the cabling from the transducer, the cable will come up through this groove here and connect to the screen. That will be on the top here, I think. So it will connect inside on the back of the screen here. And the cables for the power will come out from the box here. And I will place a battery inside the box here. So with no further ado, let's take the box inside. I have taken my measurements. And we can try to mount the Garmin. So I want to have this as a single unit with everything mounted to the box. So I can just take with me the box with my fish finder. And I'm not using my kayak. Then I can store the fish finder safely in my car or inside my house and recharge the batteries. So we are inside my cave again, and I have got Garmin Striker Vivid 7 SWS view with the side view transducer. So I had this mounted onto my boat previously. And now it will be mounted to my new BonaFide kayak. So here's the bracket for the display. And here is the transducer with the cable. Then we got cabling for the power. So if I remember correctly, the transducer will connect to this one like this. Then these two cables will go in back on the screen. Then the power cable that will go inside the box will also connect on the back side of the screen. So a fuse holder for the power and all hanky-dory, or what you call it. So I wonder if what I've got for hardware mounts here that I can use. So my fish finder came with a trolling motor mount. I will not use that. Oh, I got a sticker. This will be placed onto my kayak. Always cool with some stickers. So I have drawn a very simple bracket. So I will use this type of threaded inserts that will melt down into these holes here, so I can screw or mount the transducer with 4mm screws. So I have opened up into Creality Print. I'm gonna print it with the normal settings. I'm using PETG filament. So for infill I'm gonna print it with 25% infill. So choose your own material. Doesn't matter what, if it's PETG or ABS or whatever. So I'm gonna slice it up. So it's good amount of infill. So instead of screwing the bracket onto my box and making a hole in the bottom of the box, I'm going to try to glue the bracket, then screw the transducer into the bracket, so I don't get any holes under the boat. Then I know there won't be any water leakage into the battery compartment. So yep, then I can send it to my Creality K1 printer. It will take 1.5 hours to print it in normal, so that's fast enough for me. My printer is gone. There it is. So I'll choose my printer, send sorry, didn't get everything into frame here. Send the G code. There, it's already sent. Details. I can start the printing with calibration because I haven't used my printer today. So I'm very happy with my Creality K1 Max printer. It's very easy to use straight out of the box. So I really recommend it. And as you can see, I've got a camera so I can follow my print remotely. Also with my phone when I'm not near it. That's quite handy. So the printer is doing its calibration. So the 3D print is finished. So here is the bracket. So I made it a bit longer than the bracket on the original bracket on the transducer, because I wanted more surface area to glue on, so it would stick better to the box. So this will be glued in like this. Then I have to melt in the threaded inserts. Then I can screw the transducer onto the bracket like this. So now hopefully we have about 8 centimeters. So let's measure. So now it should be about 8 centimeters from the box to the bottom of the transducer. I think we are so if you see and you know what, when I was drawing this bracket here, I was living in my old measurements, so this should be 5 millimeters thick and not 20. So this bracket, so if the transducer should be a bit lower than the keel on the kayak, this would be great, but I want it flush or a bit, so the keel gets a bit lower than the transducer to protect it against rocks and the bottom of the lake. I need a 5 millimeter bracket and not 20 millimeter. So I'm currently 3D printing a new one at 5 millimeters. So, but I'll post both of the brackets on thingiverse. So if someone is in need of a 20 millimeter bracket, you can print one. So then it's a waiting game again for the 5 millimeter bracket. Bracket number 2. So this one builds 5 millimeters. So then I've got 2 options. So I'm a bit tempted to use the 20 millimeter one and make an, something to hold the box upward, so when I'm putting my kayak out in the lake, it doesn't scrub on the bottom. Then I can just remove the holder, or what you call it, spacer, so the box slips all the way down and the transducer gets this much lower than the keel on the boat. So but yeah, no, I'll try the 5 millimeter one first. So now I have to glue it on here, but before I do that I want to melt in my inserts. So for that I'm gonna use my soldering iron. So the surface is roughed up with some sandpaper. So for gluing I'm using this multi-bound silicone glue. That's pretty strong. So that should hold quite good. Then I'm just using some wooden stick to even it out. There. Try to get the bracket so straight that I can. Then this has to dry overnight. Press it firmly down so the glue spreads out underneath. Then it can stand and dry over the night. Find something heavy to press it down with. Align the bracket here. Just snug the screw in. There. And when the Loctite cures, it should not unscrew itself or undo itself, so there. So here is the finished assembly. So now it's on to the display bracket. That should be mounted here. So these are self-threading screws. So it should sit like this. So I think I will use through-hole screws with a washer and a nut, because it's a bit thin plastic to use self-tappers, I think. Got my bracket for my screen, so I have taken the sonar off again, so it's easier to maneuver a box without breaking the sonar off the bracket. So the sonar connector is 16.3, almost 16.3 millimeters thick, so you need a quite big hole. Then we have a hole for the sonar cable. So this is how far I have come now. I am finished installing the Garmin Fishfinder onto my box. So have taken the wires to the screen up under a bracket. It's a hole that the wires go through, then through the slot on the back side of the bracket and into the screen. So the cabling is hinging with the screen, and I'm opening the box. Then I have mounted a switch, power switch, so the battery doesn't get drained when I'm not using my fish finder. So that's quite handy to have. And inside I have mounted a 12 volt battery, 9 amp hours, and on the mid brightness with the fish finder it uses about 500 milliamps, so this will hold about 18 hours plus minus. And I have soldered on the switch. So let's go outside and see if I have hit jackpot with the height of the sonar. Hopefully I have. The fish finder is in place, and I am very happy with the depth of the sonar. So it's just below the keel of the boat. So I think this will work quite well with the low building bracket. But to be safe, I want to make a slide in spacer, so the whole box is a bit higher when I'm setting my kayak into the water on the shallow ground. So I think I will 3D print spacing bracket that slides in here, that's holding the whole box a bit higher. Then I know the sonar won't hit any rocks or anything at the bottom. But so far, quite quite happy with the setup.